Hey Scorpios, welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot and welcome to your cards for March. First of all, I apologize for the reading being a little bit late. There's a lot going on this month, trying to get some yard work and house stuff. Spring projects started at the same time as transitioning back into, going back to work. I have a son graduating, so I just ask that everyone stay a little bit patient. I'm getting the readings out. But I really don't want to rush through them. May's a really big month, so I want to be able to take my time and concentrate with each sign. So for that, I just ask for your patience. Scorpio, you got a lot going on. This month is probably, I'm not going to lie, right off the bat, going to come out. It's an emotional storm. We're talking a lot of 8th house stuff, which Scorpios are good at. They're in their element. But then that 8th house stuff is never easy. It asks you to be, very vulnerable, and that a Scorpio can struggle with. So let's take a look. You're coming out as a Prince of Swords this month, which is interesting because your first card in the first week is the 8 of Wands, and there's so much fire and so much wands in this reading, and yet here you are, the Prince of Swords. And the environment you're in is a Death card. So that tells me that coming into the month of May, you may be embodying the Prince of Swords. You may be going about a situation in your life and you're trying to be logical, make logical decisions from the head, plans for the future, possibly wanting to communicate some of your feelings. And that's good, but just know that that is an area of your life that is up for transformation. The Death card. Well, so let's talk about really quick Venus retrograde in Gemini, and as well the nodes switching over into Gemini, all happening in the month of May. So right off the bat, beginning of May, I think it's the 5th, depending on whether you follow a true node or the mean nodes in astrology. It doesn't matter. The nodes are moving into Gemini the first week in May. And then Venus, which has been in Gemini for a couple weeks now, Venus is stationing and going retrograde in the middle of May, and she's going to make some squares to Neptune between May and the end of July as it goes retrograde. And this is all in your 8th house. This is your 8th house of your partner's finances, money. It could be in regards to debt, loans that need to be repaid, any form of money that comes from someone else can be affected this month. You may be expecting loans to come through, but in reality there may be delays and struggles in getting such loans, especially if you're working for like student loans at this time. There just could be some hiccups. You may expect a certain amount that might come back wrong, but it'll balance itself out. Really, I try to explain it to everybody, the entire summer is a very karmic setting for all of us, with everything being retrograde. In May, Venus goes retrograde, Pluto just went retrograde, and then we have Jupiter and Saturn going retrograde, followed quickly after with Neptune. So it is a very karmic time. It is a time in which we kind of, its best energy is to just kind of let things happen, let things flow. You know, when all these planets are retrograde, they're kind of working for us. They're more intense. Their energy is more intense, and so bigger things tend to happen. And after May, we start to roll into eclipse season, and everyone knows that we have very little control at eclipse season. So honestly, the best thing for everyone astrologically is to just let go, detach from any expectations, and just try your best to be in the moment. Now, being in the moment for a Scorpio who is typically focused and emotional, and yet you're coming out with this very logical energy. The Rumi card you got, card number 40, breaking down to a 4, Blessings of Al-Hakim. So this is very much a card that talks to me about healing, about being in a cycle of healing, and about allowing the universe to kind of let things happen for you in a way. And that you need to go with the flow, and you need to be in an element where it's easy to let go and let old parts of you, old parts of your life pass, because new things are coming in, new desires, which I see very strongly throughout the month. There's an element of new passions being born, and the way that you protect them and honor them is pretty impressive. Yeah, definitely, it's a big month for sure for my Scorpios. I always like to read little passages within the book of the Rumi cards, because the cards really do cover a large arena of ideas. But sometimes it's the wordings that she uses. Alana Fairchild wrote such beautiful passages that kind of really triggers, you know, the consciousness within you. And I think it's important for you to hear some of this. Like I said, it's a card of blessing and transformation. This oracle comes with special guidance for you. If you are uncertain about an issue in your life, be at peace. There is divine healing that can occur most readily in the unknowing. Follow the sacred honoring ritual and know that all is indeed well, beloved soul. Perhaps you are journeying very deep indeed, and your allegiance to your intellectual mind is softening in favor of allegiance to your heart knowing. You may find yourself craving different company with different interests, or finding the world of opinions and debate rather less to your liking, and the worlds of creative expression more nurturing and nourishing to your essence. If this is the case, this oracle comes as a confirmation to trust in the changes you feel within. In any and all ways, no matter how insignificant or dramatic they may seem, know that they are seedlings of a new way that shall grow from one step into an entirely new and more sacred orientation in your life. You will not necessarily have any idea how that will happen or what it will look like. This matters not. The acorn becomes the oak because that is its innate destiny. It happens without any active participation, apart from a willingness to grow through life. So it is with this precious blooming now, happening within your soul, to know less can bring the greatest gift and blessing of all, to be able to love and therefore live more freely. I think that really does capture the essence of the Prince of Swords and the Death card, you know. This is an end of going about things in your life, be it relationships, jobs, whatever it is. There's a changing in the way that you look at things. There's a changing of your priorities. And I think you're going, it's like a heart opening. There's a level of faith and desire that's overcoming these walls that you build around logic and understanding. Now getting into your weeks, kind of breaking things down, jumping into the first week of May, there's the Eight of Wands. Like I said, you're taking action. I think this is you or somebody else taking action towards you. But there's definitely action towards a desire within. It could be the beginnings of a new relationship. You could be meeting somebody online that you think is, definitely catching your eye. This could be serious, deeper, more intimate conversations with someone that you're seeing, in which you want to deepen the bonds in some way. Six of Cards coming up as your challenge card could mean that simply kids might be an issue for you. And again, if this is a job offer or going back to school, whatever kind of opening, whatever's being offered or whatever is catching your interest at this time, kids might be an issue for you. If it's not kids, it's something from your past, childhood trauma, old experiences that might come into your memory now for healing. It could also be relationships with your siblings that may be strained, or, communication with siblings. But in some way, those elements seem to be a theme for you moving into week 1. In week 2, you're coming out as the energy of the Queen of Pentacles. And you're in full manifestation mode. There may be an essence of which you have to really look at your finances in the second week. There may be an opportunity to invest in something or someone. There may be an element of having to make a choice between two different things. You may be choosing between taking a job offer or promotion at work or going back to school. These decisions might be at play. It could be something that really is affecting your future. Be careful, because the Queen of Pentacles can also be kind of a stubborn energy. So if you're manifesting and you're getting all of these messages about staying open, what you don't want to do is really hold on and white knuckle ideas that make you feel safe. You're being asked to transform your life. So in any way in which you're kind of digging your heels down into the old, if you're trying to avoid stepping out of your comfort zone, that's where you could really make the wrong calls in May. Now, I don't really see you doing that, but the Page of Wands is your challenge card. So stay creative, stay open, move towards your desire. This is all heart chakra stuff with the wands. It's just simply wanting, and it's simply making the things that you want a priority in your life, which may be something very different from how you've lived this far. So like the second week, Nine of Wands, he's, the wounded warrior. He's weary and he's tired. But he comes out the King of Wands. And the challenge card is the Ten of Pentacles. I think in the third week, things start to become real clear. There's a sense of clarity towards what you really desire in May. And it may come in a way of losing something. There may be a situation or a person or a relationship, and you may be dangerously close to losing it, and it's in the losing it that you really understand how much you love it. Because there's a renewed sense in that third week. Like I said, this is a resetting of the priorities. The third week is when you really start to move the way that your heart wants you to move. You start to make decisions based on your desires and maybe not so much the expectations of those around you. You know, if you're a single parent or something and you're avoiding dating because you really want to stay focused on the kids, you may very well have a connection that comes up in which you kind of need to abandon those old rules that you had for yourself and start to reimagine, a life in which maybe somebody else can fit into that picture. I don't know why I'm picking up that scenario here. The Six of Cups is a challenge card. The Ten of Pentacles is a challenge card. I think life is changing for Scorpio, and you're not quite sure how the rest of the pieces are going to fall into place. And you want to try not to focus on that stuff. As a rule, it's so important to stay open. Because you start to get lost in all of that, well, this wouldn't work and that wouldn't work and we couldn't do that, and you limit yourself. You're the only one limiting what you're capable of here. If this isn't about, integrating a dating life, or, it could be integrating a hobby, wanting to make money from a hobby or something that you're passionate about, and trying to integrate it in with your regular job in some way. Again, the idea of kind of going back to school, but will you be able to handle that with your job, with your family obligations that you have now? And I get a sense that the universe is going to say, you know what, you tell us what you want, and then we're going to start removing things, removing obstacles that are in your way. We're going to help you to make this happen. Fourth week, Three of Pentacles, Four of Swords. You're starting to get in the comfort zone. Your challenge card is the Judgment card. That's always, to me, the card of divine timing and accepting divine timing. And the Four of Swords is always like the lower octave of the Temperance card for me. So, yes, you're going to want to build and collaborate. You're going to start wanting to make the actual plan, set the dates, get something moving. There's a sense of wanting to make a real commitment, but also knowing that you're in a state of transformation. You don't know everything yet. This could be the Venus-Neptune square that I'm talking about. And this is where you really have to allow flow in your life. Allow the universe to help. If you take nothing more from this reading, please understand that if you're struggling with things, you just need to ask. The Four of Swords tells me you're in the mode where you understand the universe is trying to support you. And so instead of doing the Nine of Swords thing where you stay up all night and you worry, instead you're in this element where you could just kind of say, listen, God, spirit, guides, whatever it is that you pray to, whatever higher being that you represent, you know, I think it's the ability to say, look, I'm struggling with this. I want to do A, but this thing is getting in the way, and it might be easier to just go with plan B, but I feel like I'm giving a part of my heart up. And so if you could just help me, if you could assist me or show me the way. And in the openness of that, in you being open to maybe signs or directions, you know, I think you're going to roll into eclipse season in June, and you're going to realize in a moment of humbleness how much the universe really is working out for you. How many things are really happening in your favor, and all you had to do was let go. Your advice, which is exactly, and actually 2 fell out, which was really funny. Your advice for the month: most of life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside your control, regardless of what your mind says about it. Right? Most of life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside your control, regardless of what your mind says about it. And this fell out right underneath it: let go, no matter what it is, let go. Guys, you're really being asked to let the old go. Do me a favor this month and try to recognize that feeling that you get in your body when you start to panic at the thought of losing something. Start to really recognize what happens within your body and your instincts at the second that you start to feel fear. And start to recognize where that fear comes from. Because I think you're going to find that the fears that creep up are not based in fact or reality. They're simply illusions of worst case scenarios in our heads. Now, yes, we should want to be prepared, right? Put the money into savings. You're not getting cards of being the fool or taking major leap of faith. This isn't taking huge financial risks. It's just starting to decide what you really want your life to look like, what you really want for yourself, and making yourself the priority. The Empress is really going to talk to you about how your creative gifts is where all of the abundance is. And look at the way the King of Wands and the 2 of Wands are both staring at the Empress. I just feel like there's something deep within my Scorpios that has all the answers. You know, that drive, that solar plexus, that internal intuition. And it's in recognizing the way that you feel, paying attention to your energy. Where can you get lost in feelings of content and happy, you know, as opposed to places where you go and you feel anxiety and fear or overwhelm or discontent. You know, start to really make the things that you love in your life a priority, and the universe will cooperate with you, and all the pieces will just start to come together. 3 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords, and the Judgment card. By the end of the month, you could sit back, kick your feet up, and know the universe is just acting out your desires at this time. And the most important thing you can do by the end of May is to spend your time daydreaming and thinking about the new things. It's in that. It's in the new things. It's in your imagination that the magic really, truly does occur. Overall theme, Ace of Cups. You're moving towards emotional fulfillment. Your desire and attraction for something will lead you there. Your foundations may be really shaken up at this time, but if you just go with it, it's going to lead you in the right direction. Now, because it's May and Venus is going retrograde, I did pull a couple love cards. They're from the Sexual Tarot deck, so I don't like to show them up close because they can be a little illicit, although these are not. The cards you pulled was the stars, meaning that there is an attraction. I do have to say, with the squares to Neptune, if you're meeting somebody new, it could be an attraction that's very healing, it's very motivating, it could help you to loosen up and learn things in your life. It could help you to really embody that sense of abandonment and just going with your desires. But don't attach too much to, the outcome of it. When Venus is square Neptune, it's more a feeling of being in the moment, and whatever we're attracting to us now may not stick around forever. It's not a real good long-term plan. It's in the allowing it to help us feel now is where it brings the most benefit. So you don't want to run off and get married or move in with somebody you just met. Now is not the time for those types of decisions. As well, it's not a time to just up and randomly leave long-term commitments either. Now it's just, you're getting to know what you want. There's probably a lot of contrast this month, which will help you discover what you truly desire in your life. And then the universe is just going to take care of the rest anyways. So there's an attraction, and then there's a deepening and a getting to know each other. There's a sense that things are just deepening and getting more intimate. And the Five of Swords energy is letting yourself be really shook from this. Letting yourself really enjoy it, be in the moment, and abandon to it. There's a lot of healing that can occur from the sexual relationships in May. All right, Scorpios, that's a great reading. I hope that you take care of yourself in the month of May. I'll be back typically every Monday with some kind of bump messages. Until then, I wish you the best of luck. Bye.